All right, the last thing we're going to talk about in this section is saving and loading images. Let's say you have an image on this machine and you want to put it on another machine, but without going through Docker Hub. In this case, you can save that image as a compressed file and load it on the other machine. So let's run docker image save. Now for any of these commands, if you want to learn more about them, you can always add --help at the end. So here's the syntax. Docker image save. We have to use one of these options, like O, which is the short form, or output, which is the long form. Here we specify the file to write to, and then we identify the image. So I'm going to say docker image save -o. So I'm going to save this to a file in the current directory called reactapp.tar. A tar file on Linux is like a zip file on Windows. It's a compressed file. And then we specify our image. Let's say React App version 3. Now, this is going to take a while, so I'll be right back. All right, our image is saved. So here we have a tar file. We can double click it to uncompress it. Now, let's see what we have here. Each of these folders represents a layer. Now, if you're adventurous, we can go inside each of these layers and see what is really inside that layer. So each layer contains a JSON file and a tar file, which contains all the files in that layer. So let's open this up. Here we have an app folder. So that means this is the layer that represents our application code. You can go look at other layers. You will find a layer for Linux. You'll find a layer for Node and so on. So we have the save command for saving an image into a file. We also have the load command. Let's look at that real quick. So we type docker image load and then use one of those options. We can use I or input to specify the file name. And optionally, we can use the quiet option to suppress the load output. So to demonstrate this, first I'm going to delete the image from this machine and then load it using our image file. So docker image remove React App version 3. It's gone. Let's look at the images. Good. Now, technically, we still have this image because there is another tag pointing to this image. So let's remove that tag as well. Docker image remove. In fact, you know what? I'm going to use the image ID. That's easier. Good. Now let's look at the images one more time. All right, perfect. That image is gone from this machine. Now I'm going to load it using our image file. So we type docker image load -i react app.tar. All right, we can see this image is loaded. So let's verify it. And here we have React App with tag 3. And this is the same image ID that we had earlier. So that brings us to the end of this section. I know this was a long section. We had a lot of ground to cover. But now that you have a solid understanding of images and how to work with them, everything is going to go smoothly from the following sections. So I will see you in the next section.